Welcome, Daniel Cameron. Daniel.
Hello.
Hello, Daniel. How does it feel to be in the final?
It's still nervous. I'm excited, but very nervous.
Oh, Daniel, you did brilliantly last time, and in fact, I was in your round at that time, and I could see how very nervous you were at that point in time. And I reassured you how fantastic your artwork was at that time. And again, I'm going to do it again. You have some fantastic comments from the judges, and in fact, we've got an opportunity right now to hear what the judges had to say about your work.
Right, obviously I'm Daniel. I'm from Liverpool in England. 33 years old. For me, my art journey began as a young child. Always picking up a pencil or pen, just drawing on whatever I can, really. The reason I picked that image is because of the level of detail within that image.
We have art that says something, and says something in a contemporary setting and in a contemporary environment, because I believe that the power of art is more than just to soothe or make us feel good, but it is about communicating strong messages, and your work clearly does that.
And even though the face is not well lit, I could still see the expression of being frustrated. And that's a huge success, I think, for an artist to come across as, what they're trying to say.
It's very important that we draw on things that are topical and make people think. And at first, somebody would look at this piece of art and actually see the negativity of the finger up. But actually, when you look deeper and the meaning behind it, and you find out the story behind Tupac, you would have a different take on it.
Can I ask you about the diamond-studded watch?
Is it for sale?
So for the audiences out there, that's just a recap as to what the judges felt about Daniel's work, having seen that in the first round, which was absolutely amazing. And when we had lots of comments from the audience at that time too. Daniel, I'm just going to hand over to the judges now to ask some questions. So if we can go to Terry first. Do you have a question that you'd like to know a little bit more from Daniel?
Yep. Hi again, Daniel. Glad to see you back. As I said, I think your work has a strong message, and I like that fact about it. But the question I asked was, who else might be on your list of icons to represent what factors that influence you? Who else might you next seek to sort of reinterpret in your own way?
At the moment, I'm currently working on a Colin Kaepernick image. Obviously, he was an NFL player.
Yep.
He was one of the first players. He was the first player to kneel during the national anthem, the US national anthem, in protest against what was going on in the world in 2016.
That's right.
After that season within the NFL, he was then sort of excluded. No club wanted him in the NFL, and he still hasn't had a contract. And I think it's about that persistence of trying to get that message across to people that that discrimination obviously needs to be sort of wiped out. It needs to be eradicated, and everyone needs to sort of be on the same page in terms of everyone's equal, everyone's inclusive of, no matter where they're from or what colour their skin is, they're inclusive. Other than that, I haven't thought too far in the future.
No.
I sort of work on one image at a time, so I'm sort of sticking to that image, which I'm partly to at the moment.
Well, he is an interesting, and he will become an iconic character, because, as you say, he's one of the first people to take the knee, as it were. And I think the subjects that you have chosen seem quite deliberately those who have those strong messages, but their messages will resonate. They will prompt discussion and debate and disagreement, I guess. And is that something you think your work is looking to do? Is not just say, now, here's a strong image. It seems to me that there's more to your work than just sort of saying, here's an iconic and powerful image.
Yeah, I think it's human nature to look at the negatives before the positives in most things, and people included. And I think that's what people see, and that's within this Tupac image, people will instantly see the negativity of it. But then when you actually look into the detail and research Tupac and what he used to fight for, you'd actually see some positives. And then when you sort of counteract the negatives against positives, you'll then see that he weren't just this sort of gangster rapper who was controversial most of the time. As you see in the image, for me, even though you don't see his facial features, he looks exhausted from the fight. But the finger shows that he's still open for the fight, and he's still trying to fight for what he thinks is right.
Great. Thank you very much, Daniel. Absolutely great. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Sujata,
Yes.
over to you. Have you got some questions to dig a little bit deeper for Daniel?
Hi, Daniel. Please tell me something that, do you think that your work is inspired by somebody, or it's completely your own language, or you have seen it somewhere and you use those things in your work to express your own feelings or the way you think, how you see it yourself?
When I see an iconic image or an like inspirational image or person, I tend to look for an image that maybe it does stand out from the norm. It's not just like a standard portrait. So in terms of like this image, I love the detail, the contrast, the focus in terms of it's on the person, but there's still no facial features. In terms of inspiration, I think it is just my own beliefs. So what I try and portray within my work is my ideas, my thoughts, my beliefs, and try and portray that within an image. And although it is just it's from a photograph, so it's sort of like copied from a photograph, and I try and get as much detail as I can. It's realism, so when I'm trying to do that, it's hard to come off the top of your head with all these details. So I try and copy iconic images and try and portray that and show the essence of that person, not just an image that looks like them. Like show their facial features. It's the essence of that person as well.
Is the photo taken by you?
No, it was taken by Mike Miller in 1994. Which I think he's in the world of hip hop and rap and just in general photography. I think he goes for more grimy images and sort of rough images rather than nice and clean. So I sort of like that way of working, and I think graphite sort of supports that, and it looks a bit rough and stuff like that. So it's not my.
And the last question, the pores, on the skin, the hair and the pores, you have given a lot of importance to that. Do you have any meaning behind that, particularly something you are trying to say, or is just the part of the drawing or the work?
No, it's just part of the work. So I just try and get as much detail in as I can, and I try and get the render quite smooth as well, but sort of what pencil naturally gives that rough look, but I try and get the sort of render of the work quite smooth, as best I can to make it look more as realistic as I can. But there's no meaning behind the small details. I just like to get them in there because I think it adds something to the artwork. It adds something for people who have seen it. I think it's more aesthetically pleasing.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Sujata, thank you very, very much. Dr. Richard, over to you.
Daniel, I just think the level of detail is really stunning, and I think your ability to capture photographic realism is incredible. I suppose the question for me is, if I didn't know anything about Tupac, and how could the image itself tell me something about your feelings about him and so on? Because in a sense, you're using another person's photograph. So you're using their view. Where do I see your view of Tupac? Does that make sense? That you're using somebody else's photograph. How do I see your view of these things if I didn't know anything about Tupac? And I think that's the question for me, is how does this incredible kind of ability to capture realistically flesh and materials, and it's just stunning. How do you take it to the next level of actually saying something of your own that, you know, through those materials rather than capturing a realism, if you understand what I mean?
I totally understand. Obviously, a lot of people will think I've just took a photograph and I've just copied it. exactly how it is. But I think that the fact that I put time, dedication, the skill, the techniques that went into the artwork, it doesn't just happen overnight. It happens over years of practice. It happens over hours of drawing and sitting down with patience. So I think the fact that the dedication I put into the artwork sort of shows my take on that I believe in what that image represents, rather than I'm just drawing it for the sake of drawing it. So I think in terms of me, when people look at that, they may not see an image, they might not know who Tupac is, but when they actually do know the meaning behind it, or just know who he is, they might think, I'm going to look more into who Daniel is, or maybe look more into who Tupac is and find out the meanings behind it. And as I said, I think the fact that I put many hours into creating this artwork shows the dedication and the effort put into showing that message that I'm trying to push. You understand?
Absolutely. I think that says it so powerfully. Would you ever consider using anything other than graphite and pencil?
I have considered it, but I think my expertise is in that, and I don't want to diverge too far away from that, because I think it might take something away from the work. I do experiment. I do try and use different medias and different ways of working, but I think in terms of getting the detail that I want to get in my work is I want to stick to more graphite. But I do want to, in the future, as I said, in the previous round, I've only took up drawing again last year, last February. So I'm sort of getting back into it, and the past few months I'm trying to portray more emotions and more messages within my work. I think it's a very good start of where I made. So I just want to carry on that, and as you said, progress and maybe come up with my own ideas, my own drawings, stuff like that.
So in a sense, that's my last question: is would you consider moving away from the photograph as a kind of source into looking at the world and responding to it directly through drawing?
Yeah, of course, because I don't want to, although I do realism, I think you can obviously create your own images, create your own ideas, emotion, and just putting more of my emotion, personal emotion into my work, which is what I want to develop into, and sort of do both, because I mean, certain images just stick with me, and I feel the urge to draw that image if it means something to me. But I have been thinking of moving away into generating my own ideas, generating my own beliefs through them ideas and through my artwork.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Daniel, there's just a couple of things from the audience, just to quickly run through. Lots of positive feedback. Lots of people saying that you've answered lots of their questions, really. Have you thought about a self-portrait, Daniel?
No.
Oh, okay.
Don't think I ever will.
And comments of, you know, that people can really see the truth of what you're saying. And is this a total replica of the original photograph, or have you taken any artistic license?
Just things that have changed, because just only slight, but not on sort of major. I try and get as close to the image as I can.
Any final comments, judges?
Just to say, a powerful piece of work. I think, as I say, it will speak to many people, and I particularly like that fact that it is art that is accessible, that reaches out, and the notion of it prompting discussion and debate, I think, is great, because
wonderful.
That's what art should do. Thank
you, Daniel. Thank you so much for coming along today, and I wish you the very best of luck, and lots of love, of course. Valentine's Day. So take care, and we'll come back to you soon.
Thank you.